Hey, it's Todd Thomas from Todd-Thomas.com. I'm chuckling, because I just got a message from my friend Jim Beach. Just before I hit the start broadcast button to start the broadcast for today, I got a message from Jim. Hey, are you coming on? You coming on? Because I was running maybe a minute or so late here. So there he is right there. I was just saying, Jim, I was that I was laughing because I got your message and that I was sending your message back. Said, yeah, I'm coming on right now. I was just about to hit the start broadcast button. So I was just about to start the broadcast when my buddy Jim sends me a message. Are you coming on? Are you coming on yet? So I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Jim. Todd Thomas and Todd-Thomas.com. It's 3:15 Eastern Time. We do our study of Psycho-Cybernetics, the original science of self-improvement. A lot of stuff on self-image and self-image conditioning. Today I was pre-reading what we're going to go over. As I often do, and it's talking about courage and why not bet on yourself. And it's a lot about taking action and having the courage to take action and the courage to put aside the fear of making mistakes so that you can really move forward. Incidentally, just so you guys know, I simulcast this on a live conference call, and the number is, where is that number? Here it is. 641-715-3580, 641-715-3580, and then the access code 721-669-pound. So if you dial that number and put in that access code, this number and then that access code, you can listen in by phone. But then at the end, I take Q&A. We'll do Q&A if you want to ask a question or if you want to make a comment and come on and in your own voice and say something that you might be longer than what you could get through on Periscope. So let's get started for today. Thanks for being on the radio show today. Oh, hey. Oh, Jim was on your show today, Jeff. That was awesome. I bet that was great stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. Courage. Always, and this is very much about goals. 641-715-3580. That is correct. That's correct. Then the access code number is 721-669-pound. And then you just kind of sit and wait by, and I'll go to you a little bit later towards the end. Courage. Having a goal and understanding the situation are not enough. You must have the courage to act. For only by actions can goals, desires, and beliefs be translated into realities? I don't know that anything more true has been stated. I mean, you can have a goals and a desires all you want, but until you take action, nothing. Which are 721-669-pound. That is correct. Which reminds me of that little riddle of the three frogs sitting on a lily pad. There's three frogs sitting on a lily pad, and one of them decided to jump. How many frogs are left? Go ahead. Three frogs sitting on a lily pad. One decides to jump. How many frogs are left? What do you say? 3. Jeff, my friend Jeff says 3. Jim says 3. These guys, you can't get any, they're geniuses. You can't get anything past them. Is that Chizzy or Christy? It's a little hard to read. You're all correct. 3. Because the one that decided to jump didn't actually jump yet. He only made the decision to jump. And so until he takes action, there's still going to be 3 frogs there. And by the way, Chrissy, okay, thanks, Chrissy. By the way, it's my opinion, and not everybody agrees with me, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't agree with what everybody else says either a lot of times, but it's my opinion that until action is taken, a decision isn't actually made. Until you take action on a decision that you've made, has a decision really been made? Action says it all. Okay, Admiral William Halsey's personal motto was a quotation. The best defense, we've heard this before, the best defense is a strong offense. And it's a great military principle, says Halsey, but its application is wider than war. All problems, personal, national, or combat, become smaller if you don't dodge them, but confront them. Boy, who wouldn't agree with that? If we confront our challenges rather than dodging them. Reading on, how can you live more courageously? That's a question aptly answered by Psycho-Cybernetics. When you systematically strengthen your self-image, and that's a lot of what this is about, is self-image strengthening and conditioning. When you systematically strengthen your self-image and understand that you are not your mistakes, you are not your mistakes. You may make mistakes like we all do, but we don't associate ourselves or identify ourselves with them. We are not our mistakes. When you decide that that's true, you find it infinitely easier to take risks without undue worry over what others will think or temporarily appearing foolish if you stumble. How can you be more assertive and forceful in advocating your ideas in the workplace? How can you be more clearly and assertively ask for the order at the conclusion of a sales presentation? How can you take the dance floor even when you've too long believed you have two left feet, like me? How can you embark on an entirely new career or avocation late in life when axiomatically, or your paradigm, tells you that it's tough for an old dog to learn new tricks? How do you bounce back from severe adversity? These are all examples of living courageously, and they require a bulletproof self-image that can stand up under the pressure. Let me share something with you before I read the last part, which isn't very long, by the way. I'm going to share something with you. Here's my wallet. Okay, I'm not sharing with you what's in my wallet. Well, I kind of am sharing with you what's in my wallet, but not my credit cards or any money. But what I'm sharing with you is a affirmation card that I carry with me in my wallet. It's an affirmation card. I have a bunch of things written down on it. I have affirmations that I refer to every day for myself, and I call them my choose to believe statements. My choose to believe statements. I choose to believe. I choose to believe that I'm more than good enough. That's one of the things that I have on there. And one of the things that I have on there is one of my choose to believe statements. It relates right to what we were just reading, is I choose to believe. It says it right here. I choose to believe that I have no fear of making mistakes nor fear of criticism. I read that to myself every day. I am installing that belief so firm into my self-image, into my subconscious, into my paradigm, that I have no fear of making mistakes nor fear of criticism, because I believe that that is one of the main things, if not the main thing, that holds people back from accomplishing almost anything in life. And that is their fear of making mistakes. We have to overcome that. And our fear of criticism. Fear of criticism paralyzes people. It absolutely paralyzes people. And if you can decide in your own mind, you know what, to heck with this, I have no fear of making mistakes, I'm going for your wallet, help me at my first speaking engagement. What you focus on when speaking. Oh, great. Did I already share that with you before? Where was I? If you decide, you know what, to heck with it, I have no fear of making mistakes, I'm going for it, and besides, mistakes are just a signal to me that I need to course correct back to my target, and that you have no fear of criticism, who cares what other people think? You know? If they're being critical or putting you down, just decide, I don't care. And that's what I've done. That's not to say that I don't care what people that are close to me, advice that they give me, not that sort of thing. I'm talking about undue criticism or people that think about you negatively and don't want you to succeed, don't want you to accomplish this or that or the other because it makes them look bad in their not accomplishing goals' lives. And they want to hold you down by putting you down. For me, not me, baby. No way. I've decided that I choose to believe. And guess what? Here's the cool thing. Sorry I'm off on a tangent here, but here's the cool thing. This is the ultimate power we have as human beings, and that is the power to choose. We were created, and God gave us the power to choose whatever we want, and we live by those decisions, but we can choose to believe whatever we want to, whatever we want. We have that, we've been granted that ability. Now, it can be a curse, and it can be a blessing, okay? And I'm saying choose to make it a blessing. There it is. Choose. And you can choose, as part of that choosing, you can choose to believe anything you want. Really. You can. It doesn't even matter if other people believe it. or whether maybe even actually is true or not. If you choose to believe it for you, So anyway, so I have my choose to believe statements. And my choose to believe statement, this one right here, it says, I choose to believe that I have no fear of making mistakes nor fear of criticism. Boom. Bam to you, Jim, on that one. What do you think? You give me a bam on that one? Come on, Jim, give me a bam. Bam on that one. Man, choose to believe whatever you want. Choose to believe in yourself. And choose to believe that you have no fear of making mistakes nor fear of criticism. You're going to put that out and write that down. Write it for yourself. Write it down on a card and put it in your wallet and read it to yourself every day until it becomes part of who you are. There's my bam. And there's a bam from Joyce. Thanks for picking up for Jim right there. Okay, so back to our study here. Not much farther to go, by the way. And here, this next section is why not bet on yourself? Why not bet on yourself? Nothing in this world is ever absolutely certain or guaranteed. Minus some things, but we'll cover that at another point. But what has been promised to us by God. But let's say nothing in this world that we do as human beings is absolutely certain or guaranteed. Often, the difference between a successful person and a failure is not one's better abilities. Check this out. Often, the difference between a successful person and a failure is not one's better abilities nor ideas, but the courage that one has to bet on ideas, to take a calculated risk, and to act. To act. We often think of courage in terms of heroic deeds on the battlefield, in a shipwreck, or during a crisis, but everyday living requires courage. Everyday living requires courage. I mean, we know that if we just rationally, consciously think about that, we realize that every day we are called to be courageous about something in our lives. Making a decision, taking a risk, betting on yourself and your ideas. Standing still, failure to act causes people who are faced with a problem to become nervous, to feel stymied or trapped. And it can bring on a host of physical symptoms. Here's what Dr. Malt says. He says, I tell such people, study the situation thoroughly. This could apply to all of us right here. Great stuff. Study the situation thoroughly. Go over in your imagination the various courses of action possible to you and the consequences that can and may follow from each course. Pick out the course that gives you the most promise and go. Go ahead, he says. If we wait until we are absolutely certain and sure before we act, we will never do anything. Anytime you act, you can be wrong. Any decision you make can turn out to be the wrong one. But we must not let this deter us from going after the goal we want. You must daily have the courage to risk making mistakes, risk failure, risk being humiliated. That goes back to our not being fear of making mistakes and not worrying about what other people think. A step in the wrong direction is better than staying on the spot all your life. Yeah, because once you're moving, you can change course. If you just stand in one place, you're going nowhere. Once you've moved forward, you go, well, here you go. I just said ahead of time, that shows you how many times I've read this book. Once you move forward, he says, you can correct your course as you go. Your automatic guidance system cannot guide you when you're stalled, standing still. Lee Iacocca has said that decisiveness is the number one characteristic he looked for in key people to surround himself with and depend on. General Norman Schwarzkopf has said that leadership requires making decisions. Most leaders agree that success comes from decisiveness and course correction, not long delays and procrastination to attempt making only flawless choices. I'm going to come back in just a second and tell you a secret to using procrastination to your advantage. Hold me to that here in just a second, as we're almost finished. Few successes are achieved via a straight line. A few, I'll say none of them. From point A to point B, from idea to fruition. Most successes are achieved in a zigzag manner. Here's the prescription that he says to wrap up this section for today on courage. Be willing to make a few mistakes, to suffer a little pain, to get where you want. Don't sell yourself short. Most people, said General Chambers, once chief of the Army Psychiatry and Neurology Consultant Division, don't know how brave, he says, most people don't know how brave they really are. In fact, many potential heroes, both men and women, live out their lives in self-doubt. If they only knew that they had deep resources, it would help them, their self-reliance, to meet the most problems and even bigger crises. Wow, that's powerful stuff. You've got the resources, but you never know you've got them until you act and give them a chance to work for you. Another helpful suggestion is to practice acting boldly and with courage in regard to little things. Do not wait until you get you can be a big hero in some dire crisis. Daily living also requires courage. By practicing courage in little things, we develop the power and talent to act courageously in more important matters. That wraps up the section on courage today. Man, wasn't that great? And yeah, I mean, what he's saying there in the end is let's take some chances on some little things. You never know what your resources are until you use them. Bam, right on. There's Jeff bamming, and there's Jim and with another bam. That was awesome. Yeah, and just so I can come back to where I was just a minute ago when I jumped in and said, let me tell you how to use a secret to use procrastination to your advantage. Have you ever thought that procrastination could be a good thing? I'm going to tell you how it can be. Because everybody always says, oh man, procrastination is one of the worst things in the world. It is if you procrastinate on making decisions and procrastinate on action taking, which is what he was talking about here. Let me tell you a way to use procrastination as a powerful success tool. You ready? Here it comes. I do this, not all the time, but I'm trying to make it a habit, and that's one of the things. Habits, it's all about, we're habitual creatures, and that is, whenever I feel myself getting mad about something, or upset, or maybe discouraged, often, not all the time, but often, I'm getting better, and it's becoming more often, I tell myself, you know what? I'm going to get mad about that later. I'm not going to get mad about it now. I'm going to procrastinate getting mad. I'm going to procrastinate doubting about that. I'm going to procrastinate being discouraged about that. I'll put it off. I'll get mad later. You like that, Jim? Bam! How about that? Isn't that great? Use procrastination in that way, and it can be a powerful success tool. Because you know what I found when I have done that? When I've decided, when I stop down and I say, all right, I want to get angry about this, but you know what? I'm going to get mad later. I'm going to procrastinate about getting angry. I'm going to get mad later. You know what usually happens? That later never arrives. I end up rolling off my back, and I forget about it, and I lose getting angry over that situation. So there you go. There you go. A powerful way to use procrastination. Just to wrap up, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes. If anyone wants to jump on, they can dial the number 641-715-3580. 641-715-3580. Put in that access code. And if you want to come on, I'd love to talk to you. If you want to ask a question or if you want to make a comment, that would take more than what might be able to go on just on Periscope. Goes well with my concept of 2 positives for every negative. Yes! Yes, Sean. That's awesome. Yeah, 2 positive for every negative. Hey, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to be moving forward quite a bit there, my friend. You're going to find yourself, you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, you're going to find yourself a long way ahead of where you would have been had you just been standing still. I don't hear anybody that's jumped on, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day. That's why I still hear the music. But thanks for being here, Jim, Jeff, Sean, Chrissy. Sorry if I'm missing. I missed a lot of your comments when I was on a roll and I was really going. I missed a lot of your comments, but I like to go back and watch the replay so that I can catch your comments and see what you had to say. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for being here. 3:15. tomorrow afternoon, same bat time, 3:15 Eastern time, same bat channel, right here on Periscope. Todd Thomas from todd-thomas.com. Goals and I say habit breaking coach. Help people break habits, habit breaking for success. I'll close it with this. Anything that you want to accomplish in life, anything ultimately boils down to the mind game. It's the mind game. But if you haven't quite figured out how to win and dominate the mind game, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Most haven't. But if you're ready to figure out and learn how to win and dominate the mind game, then we need to talk. Reach out to me through my website. Easy to do. Todd-Thomas.com. If you'll go there, you'll see how easy it is. Make it a great now. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate your support. Bam to you. Make it a great now, because that's really all we have. See ya.